Alright, so I'm still tinkering with Corvold. So, what is the problem? What is going on here? Why am I having so many problems? I'm not playing to his strengths. So, what is he? He's 2 black, green, red for a 4/4 legendary dragon noble. Flying. He flies. He's a dragon. He's got wings. He flies. It's not like fucking Whippoorwill that has wings but doesn't fly because it isn't flying. You know, he's not like that. Alright, comes to player attack. Sacrifice on the permanent. Okay, so far so good. Whenever you sacrifice permanent, put a +1/+1 encounter on Corvold and draw. So what are you supposed to do with him? How do you most effectively employ him? You do that by building the first version of Corvold, or something close to it, that I had, where you have a lot of tokens, you have a lot of ways to sacrifice them, he draws you a lot of cards, he gets big, and he's pretty much there to fly over and smack somebody in the face when the opportunity presents itself, but the deck does most of the heavy lifting. Well, I got kind of bored with that. So what did I do? I decided I would make him basically a kind of a Voltron commander to kill with commander damage through him by having just enough things to sacrifice to feed him every turn, and by having support creatures. That's what I thought I would do. But that's not how the deck really wants to work. And I'm still trying to force it to do what it doesn't want to do. Corvold, you're going to do what I want you to do, or I don't know, make, what's her name? Marika? Masaka? Malaka? Madabadaba? Where's that chick? Where's that big indestructible? Yeah, Marika. Maybe I should make Marika the commander. I mean, she is more relevant to what the deck is trying to do the way I've built it than he is, but I still like that he gets bigger every turn, that I draw cards every turn, so I'm still tinkering with him. Here are the latest changes. Here's the latest things I've done to try to make him work. Alright, so let's see. Out goes Exploration. So Exploration is really only good. It's best on turn... Well, compared to Wayward Swordtooth, Exploration is better on turn 1. Far better, if you have more than one land in your hand. And one of the lands produces green. Which is another problem of having Corvold that I'll explain in just a moment. Given that I want more creatures, I want more things to beat people with, I want to go more in that direction. I'm taking out Exploration because, as I said, it's only really good on turn 1 or 2 compared to Wayward Swordtooth. And that's all it does. I can just play an additional land each turn. So Wayward Swordtooth is going in. He is Exploration with a 5/5 body for 2 more colorless. Of course, he can't attack a block unless I have the City's Blessing. So until I get the shitty Blessing, he's just Exploration for 3. But since I should get the shitty Blessing eventually, before too long, having a 5/5 Exploration that can beat people is better than the actual Exploration. Okay, land. So I want more incremental advantage. I'm taking out 1 swamp because I have Urborg, Tomb Yawgmoth. And if you saw my video about Urborg, you know why I'm running Cabal Coffers. I'm running Cabal Coffers because I run Urborg. I'm not running Cabal Coffers in and of itself. In Hirobi I am, because he's mono black. But in this sort of deck, I'm running Cabal Coffers because I have Urborg. And I have Urborg to do things like, alright, this Temple of the False God. Unless I have 5 lands or more, it does nothing. Once I have 5 lands, it produces 2. If I have Urborg out, it's a swamp. I can tap for black while I'm waiting for those other lands. My forests become bayous. My mountains become badlands. And so on and so forth. So I'm taking out 1 swamp, and I'm putting in Temple of False God. That's the land change. Next change, not really in any order, but I'll pretend like it is. Downthrough Brace is coming out. I mean, I want to beat people. I want to smash people. This is kind of mana intensive. it doesn't do anything else. It just 2 and a black, black, target creature gains shadow until end of turn. If I have enough recursion in the deck, then I really don't care about giving them shadow, because if my creatures die, I can get them back. And I have some good ways to do that. So do I need the Embrace? It's nice. Oh, it was really helpful in one game against Cube that I lost anyway, so the helpfulness was limited. That's coming out. In its place, Bear Umbra. I'm drawing extra cards, so I want to play extra things. If I give a creature Bear Umbra, when it attacks, it gets to untap all my lands. It also makes the creature bigger. If the creature be destroyed, instead the Bear Umbra is destroyed, and I have a couple of ways to get this back. I have Farrakhan's Mender, I have Eternal Witness. So this is going into the place of Doubt the Embrace. Tower Defense, similar to Doubt the Embrace. I kind of don't care if the creatures get blocked to a certain point. In fact, I want Anzac to get blocked. I want him to get blocked and give me another combat step. Saving this as a trick, it just doesn't seem that it fits the deck. Sure, somebody does. It's more, I should put this in the blue-green token deck. That's really where I need this. Here, if I give a bunch of big creatures an additional 5 toughness, it doesn't really matter. Nah, not really. So, in the reach, okay, I have enough flying creatures, I have enough other effects that it could be good on the block, but I'm more concerned about the attack. The deck is more concerned with the offense than the defense. So the biggest problem I have with the deck, the absolute biggest, is mana production. A few years ago, if in my opening hand, I have 2, maybe 3 land, I can work with that. I can keep going. These days, the setup time, the time between the game start and people enacting their game plan in earnest, is much shorter than it used to be. I don't have time. I don't have the luxury of waiting 3 or 4 turns to get my 3rd or 4th land like I used to. So when I was building Corvold, I only put in Temptation and Discovery. I put in a few creatures who find me land. Solemn Simulacrum, Secure Tribe Elder, Wood Elves. No Nature's Lore, no Cultivate, no Yamama's Reach, none of that. And it shows. It shows that that's a problem. Of course, now the problem the deck has is just giving me green early in the game anyway. Yep, fucker, Corvold, give me green when I start the game, you son of a bitch. So, barring that, I need more mana production. So I'm putting in this Yavimaya Granger. 2 and a green for a 2/2 elf with Echo. At my next turn, I either pay the cast cost or I sacrifice it. If Corvold's in play, I'll sacrifice it because it gives me a card and makes him bigger. Otherwise, when it comes into play, it's Solemn Simulacrum, except when it dies, you don't draw a card with Echo. Comes to play, go find a basic land, put it in play, tap, shuffle after him. Yeah, that's going in instead of Tower Defense. Fiend Artisan. The thing is, I am so light on creatures I want to sacrifice that it becomes a real tension to, do I want them to sacrifice to Corvold so I can draw cards, make him bigger and smash people? Or do I want to sacrifice them for other effects? And like I said, I'm really light on generating creatures I don't care about, that I don't mind sacrificing, that don't set me back if I sacrifice them. So to have him, green, black hybrid, 1/1 nightmare, sure, he gets bigger for every creature card in my graveyard. I can spend X, sack another creature, go find a creature card to see him, see X or less, and then put it in play. I can do that. But in practice, doing the gold fishing, when he's in play and Corvold's in play, a lot of times I'll have something like a Wood Elves. I'll have something like Solemn Simulacrum. And I can either go find another creature with him, or I can feed it Corvold, draw a card, attack Corvold, and Corvold is bigger. So usually I want to feed it Corvold because I want the card. So I'm taking him out, and I'm putting in Lotus Cobra. I have, so, Wayward Swordtooth, Looty Booty, both to let me play extra lands per turn, and Burgeoning, which only lets me play on an opponent's turn, so if I generate mana on my opponent's turn by playing a land, it doesn't really do anything, it just kind of dissipates. But during my turn, if I can play an extra land each turn, that's free mana. Sometimes you just need 1 or 2 extra mana to do something, to really get going. And this guy helps that, so I'm going to try to put him in. Well, I am going to put him in, but I'm going to see how he works. Is there anything else really to talk about this deck? So now it's up to 39 creatures, 40 including Corvold. Like, he generates creatures if he survives until my next upkeep that can feed Corvold. Genesis, I don't mind feeding him to Corvold because then I can activate his ability each turn if I have a creature in my graveyard I want back. Anything else really interesting? Well, there's one of the board wipes. She'll return an enchantment or creature from her graveyard to my hand, and then I can sacrifice her. Because after that, unless I have, say, Kirkwood Liege, and she's a 6/5, a 4/3 for 5 isn't that interesting. It might be better just to sacrifice her to Corvold, and then resurrect her to do it again. Captivating Crew, another reason to have more ways to generate mana. So if I have the crew in play, Corvold in play, I'm going to play a fetch land. That gives me 2 mana, so I only need to spend 2 more to activate the crew, snatch somebody else's creatures, attack, and feed that creature to Corvold. He really does 2 things in this deck quite well. He either takes creatures away from my opponents, and essentially he kills creatures with extra steps when it comes to Corvold. That's really what he does. He's attrition with extra steps. Or he lets me use that creature so I can employ it. I can get some fun. There's Looty Booty. Ah, he's so cute. Marin of Kagamaru, the other board wipe. And Zack the Quake Mole. In that video where the Trinket Mage was talking about Cabal Coffers, and you probably saw my rebuttal that the reason I play Coffers is because I'm playing Urborg. I don't play Coffers in and of itself. I play it because, hey, I've got Urborg in the deck. Why wouldn't I throw Coffers in? If I don't draw one or the other, if I draw the Coffers, okay. C'est la vie. And if I draw Urborg without drawing Coffers, oh well, it still modifies my mana pool, smooths out my mana. Same with this. He talked about Chromatic Lantern, how he sees it in decks that really don't need it. And to be honest, I can't picture any of, because all my 3-color mono decks have one, I can't picture any of those decks not needing it, not utilizing it. There's been plenty of times I've been playing something like Corvold, and I've got 3 red sources of mana, 2 green sources of mana, 1 black source of mana, 2 colorless sources of mana, and I want to play Mikaeus, something like that. Well, if I've got the lantern, I've got the mana. If I don't have the lantern, I'm just looking at this card that I can't cast going, well, I wish I had these other cards, I wish I had these other lands, I wish I could produce land of any mana, any color. So that's that. Anything else that you want to see for have 14 minutes in? So if you look at it, okay, this guy, he generates tokens, but they don't really help unless I have Goblin Bombardment, which I didn't put it in because I don't expect to generate that many creatures that often, especially tokens that often, because I'm going more aggressive attack, not standoff sacrifice. So he creates the tokens, and they are already attacking, so they don't trigger attack triggers. Zopandrel does nothing for the tokens unless they get a second combat step, and then he only cares about the first batch that came into play. And then they're removed from the game. They're not sacrificed. Remove the token, exile them at the end of the turn. Okay, that's not really helpful, because it'd be really sweet if I made like 10 War Pride tokens, and at the end of the turn I'd sacrifice, and the Corvold's in play. That's 10 cards and plus 10 plus 10. But they didn't do that, did they? No, they did not. Don't mind sacrificing. I want to sacrifice him to get the land more often than not. I want to sacrifice that to destroy something more often than not. That makes one salad for Corvold to eat. He's just in here because why not? I will be sacrificing probably something every turn. That's the goal. Sacrifice something every turn so I can attack the Corvold, which isn't a lot of damage, but it adds up. But my opponents, when they sacrifice, I don't know, treasure tokens, food tokens. Mayhem Double says, ha, suffer, bitch, suffer. So, again, I'm trying to push this deck into doing something that Corvold isn't really ideal for, but I want to do it because I think it's fun. I think it will be fun. I think it's funny. She gets into a loop. If I have her in play, I attack with Corvold. I draw my second card to get a kitty cat. He, eats something. Next turn, she still is in play and still has the kitty cat. So Corvold attacks. He eats the first kitty cat. And then when I sacrifice the kitty cat to Corvold, she creates another kitty cat. So it just feeds him every turn. Kitty cats. There's the Dawn Treader Oak. So if you look at the deck list, if you look what I've got, I'm really light on token generation. That's creates a tension. And I'm trying to resolve it. Let's see if this works.